Welcome to Dodgers Daily. Casey Porter here, joined by Coach Holt on a glorious Friday morning. Glorious because, hey, the Dodgers won last night. The Dodgers have been playing just simply fantastic. Baseball, they're 8-2 in their last 10 games. To win 80% of your games, I know the Orioles, they're struggling. A lot of the teams the Dodgers have been playing lately have been good teams, but they've been in the part of their season where they have been struggling. I don't care. They have professional players, and anytime you have a stretch where you win 80% of your games over a 10-game span, you are playing great baseball.
Yeah, and nobody feels sorry for you. That's the nature of the business. I mean, use all the cliches, next man up, whatever. You're scuffling. Oh, I'm sorry. We're still playing a baseball game tonight at 7 o'clock. So, you're right. There's some teams, some of the good teams they've been playing, they've been scuffling. And that's fixing to change, playing the Diamondbacks team who hasn't been scuffling. So, this is a great series coming up. It'll be exciting there in Arizona. Be have tons of Dodger fans there, as there always are, and a ton of Diamondback fans. It ought to be a great atmosphere. Two really good baseball teams, and can't wait to see this series coming up, Case.
I know the Orioles are very talented. Gunnar Henderson's a very talented player. They have some pitching that is not available to them right now, so as Orel Hershiser said last night, I don't think the Dodgers saw the best version of Baltimore, but when I watched them play offense, I thank God that I'm a Dodgers fan because I can't stand watching teams like Baltimore just stand up there and literally just swing and miss and swing and miss and swing and miss and then try to hit a home run. And then when they don't hit home runs, they can't win. I complain about that with the Dodgers, but then it's kind of refreshing to see other teams and you go, okay, well, you think the Dodgers are bad with that. Heck, we still have TommyEdman and Mookie Betts and all these guys that gather a lot of hits, and we don't always have to hit home runs to win games. So just watching the Orioles, it made me feel even better about the way the Dodgers play offense.
It's like the ghost of Earl Weaver, us old people. Remember the deal with Earl Weaver was always he played for the 3-run homer. That's what he was known for. We just don't get a 3-run homer. I mean, he's not bunting, he's not stealing, he's not doing anything. Hit a 3-run homer. So it's like the ghost of him back. And I'm following the Orioles a little bit closer, like you probably are too, Case, just because of Jackson. He's struggling. He's struggling. Yeah. But I start looking at their stuff a little bit more than I have in the past. And they showed a deal the other day of how many pitchers they got at. It's unbelievable. It's not just the Dodgers, which is near and dear to our heart that we follow. But I think they had 6 or 7 pitchers are out, and like 4 of them are out for the season. So, yes, it's everywhere. Again, that's a whole other show. We're going to get into arm injuries, which we're not going to. But so they're scuffling. So I'm like you. Swing and miss, swing and miss, swing and miss. And thank God, trying to come in and got Henderson with the bases loaded there in 7th inning. That was big. Yeah. That was huge. Henderson's a great young player with a lot of power. And Trine was dealing. He diced him up, and it was great to see. So, I'm like you. It's not fun. They're not fun to watch, and they should be because they got a lot of young, talented players, and it's not real fun to watch. It's fun to watch us beat them, so I'm not going to complain too much. So. Yeah,
no doubt. It was definitely a joy to watch the Dodgers win. The win the series against the Orioles. I just didn't enjoy necessarily, as you put it, specifically from a baseball perspective, watching the Orioles themselves. That just their style of baseball it doesn't meet my eye. It doesn't mean I'm right. It's just my opinion on there. Hey, but having said that, Coach, the Dodgers were an absolute, in my opinion, pleasure to watch last night. If you're going to be a great team that can win a World Series, you got to win ways. I say this all the time. You got to find ways to win in multiple ways. You can't just be one-dimensional and say, hey, we have to win in this one particular way, or we can't win. That's kind of what I'm saying about the Orioles this morning, So check this out. The Dodgers scored first, and when the Dodgers score first, they win. I believe it's well above 80% of their games. Okay. It's some kind of, don't exactly quote me on that stat, but it's up there, something like that. It's a very impressive stat, how much and every team wins when they actually score first. So the Dodgers scored first. They scored in multiple ways. They scored with the bottom of their order. Matter of fact, the bottom 3 of their order went 6 for 11. The team went 5 for 13 with runners in scoring position. The Dodgers had 2 stolen bases last night. They made no errors, and they turned a double play. So you might say, how in the heck did the Dodgers win a game like that last night? Well, there you go. Yep. That is the fundamental formula of baseball, of how you win games, even on nights to where you're kind of like, not exactly sure what happened right there.
Yeah, and it's fundamental baseball. I think Dave Roberts even mentioned it last night after the game about how they've been playing recently, in particular the homestand. He says, we found just what you said. We found a lot of different ways to win. Mm-hmm. You know, like you said, Case, a really solid game all over, pitching, defense. You get 14 hits. It's kind of spaced out. The bottom of the order did great. So you win when Ohtani's over. You know, I mean, that's – to put it in perspective, you know, you didn't have to depend on the big guy up there at top, which we love and which we're going to depend on him a lot.
And Freddie's out.
Yes, and Freddie's out, and Will's been scuffling some. But I mean, it's great to see. You know, Edman's been a good pickup so far. TommyEdman is good to see him at Dodger Blue. He's always been a solid major leaguer, and got Rojas back, wasn't it? Yeah. We just got him back.
Man, how good is he?
Oh, I know.
He's
That's
good,
something it's something we've been missing too. You know, he'd been out a little bit. You know, not too long, but so there's a lot of positives of that, and it did not have to be Ohtani. The Dodger dog approves back there.
The Dodgers dogs always approve, and they're show business type dogs, man.
Yes.
As soon as I go on the air, it's like, hey, I got to be part of Daddy's show, right? Hey, so I just went to bed last night just super excited about. It's like, okay, if the Dodgers can just bottle that and bottle the way that they've been playing, we're all good. You know, I mean, everything's going good. And then Bobby Miller, coach, I thought Bobby Miller, he's still, some of his misses still are not competitive enough. Like, he'll throw a slider and it'll bounce, 56 feet in front of, 4 feet in front of home plate, or he'll throw maybe even like a curveball or something. And when he lands the curveball, it's like the best pitch in the world. You see the swing and miss in any count, but then he'll bounce one in front of home plate. So there's still, in my opinion, are too many not competitive balls to where there's never a threat of the hitter swinging at it, if that makes any sense. Yeah. But I'll tell you what, the execution overall, there was some bad luck to him. I know he gave up the home run. But, man, I thought overall the execution just keeps getting better for Bobby Miller.
No, he's much better than when we saw the version of him when he first came back. And outside of the 3-run homer last night at Calsra, I mean, you're looking at that. Yes, it still counts. I'm not trying to take it away, but I mean, outside the 3-run homer, he's got a shutout there. But it does count as 3 runs for him, and it is a close ball game. But no,
it makes you feel better about the process, about how he got to there. Yes.
We used to talk about Casey as a manager, as a coach, even in high school and Legion. You used to the 0-2 pitch. You don't want to throw it right down the middle. You don't want to center cut it, but you also don't want to miss so bad the guy won't offer. What you just said.
Yeah, I mean, what are you doing if you do that right?
Yeah, if it's too far out of the zone, it's a wasted pitch. What are you doing? You don't want center cut, but you got to hit something close enough to get the runner, get the hitter to chase after it. A good pitch off, just a little bit off the plate, surely not down the middle. And that's what you're talking about. When your misses have to be good misses, and that's easier said than done. Nobody's perfect in the game of baseball, but that is something that he's getting better at, and it's showing up better in his performances, and that's great. As the Dodgers here, like I say, we're past the dog days now. It's crunch time. We're past that time now. It's a race to the finish, and who's playing best at the end is the one that's going to win. So that's good for the Dodgers to see Bobby pitching better, much better.
Yeah. I think he's definitely putting himself. Walker Buehler, I thought, looked fantastic the night before. When I say fantastic, that's a little bit of hyperbole there. I mean, fantastic for him would be, hey, he's going to shove for 6 innings and nobody's going to hit him.
Right.
But for the position and the situation they're in, the Dodgers have figured out a way to continue to incorporate these two guys that they feel like have the highest potential in a playoff scenario. They've figured out a way to incorporate them and kind of work through their kinks, if you will, while still playing 800 baseball in their last 10 games. And so it's very encouraging, very exciting that squarely as we come down the stretch, Bobby Miller, Walker Buehler have put themselves in position to continue to improve and be a part of the playoff rotation. That's exciting to me because their upside and potential is it's better than probably any other options the Dodgers have.
No, I totally agree with it. And you look at them guys, it's not possible, but we know what they look like when they were healthy. Especially Buehler.
Absolutely.
We know what he looked like when he's healthy. And Bobby it's been a work in progress coming out of the minor leagues and doing some things to it. But it's like you said, if you're going to, I don't know about this guy. If you're going to do that with a couple of guys, I'd love to have Walker Buehler and Bobby Miller out there being those guys because what you said, the upside, and if those dudes are on, they're big time. It's not like you're trying to get a nibbler out there to help you out. If he misses, it goes out of the yard. We're not talking about that. You're talking about two guys with huge upside, as you mentioned, and that's great moving forward into the playoffs.
A couple of things I kept telling Dodgers fans, and I took a lot of heat when I that first Oklahoma City outing when he gave up like 6 runs in 2 innings or whatever. I said, guys, if you were there and you watched it, yeah, some things didn't go his way that you can't deny, but it was a lot closer than you actually think it was to him being good, because there were some really nice pitches and great sequences he threw even in that outing, and people, he was trash and this and that. I mean, I just took on a lot of heat for having any kind of positivity towards the process. And really kind of my point to that was I got a chance to talk to Bobby. A couple of things about him. Number one that stuck out, and Dodgers fans underrate this aspect to him. Last year, he got ramped up late. He was pitching his best baseball towards the end of the year. He point blank said, when I had a chance to talk to him, he's hoping to duplicate that. He thinks he will. Had the injury. Hey, we're going to work our way back into it. And then hopefully because he ramped up late, then again he's throwing his best baseball at the end of the year. And he said that was like about a month and a half ago, and I'll be darned, it looks like he is on that path.
And it's great that the young man has a plan.
Yes,
in the early part of his career, he knows what he wants to do, knows what he needs to do, and knows what he's capable of doing because he's done it before. So that's a great sign for him. And moving forward, we know we're going to get Glasnow back at some point. We will get him back. I mean,
Yamamoto.
I mean, we're going to get those guys back. And let's face it, we, of all the things that have gone on, we're still the best record in baseball right here, as we said, with those guys out. So there's a lot of things. We're just going to have to fight through the deal with Freeman. It's just going to be one of those things. He's going to have it the rest of the year. He's a true professional. They'll pick spots to rest his finger a little bit, but he'll be there when crunch time. We know that, and the pitching staff is shaping up. And again, a good performance last night again by the bullpen. That's a couple nights in a row. So that's encouraging what we're seeing there. And I say I can't wait for this next series to see how the Dodgers are progressing, because the Diamondbacks are playing really well and they're a good team.
I know I'm stuck on Bobby Miller, but I love watching the young man play. And I'm so excited about where he's at right now, if you can't tell. So I got one more comment to make about him. Another thing that I did ask Bobby, and this goes all the way back to his days in Louisville and then getting to see him in Tulsa and Oklahoma City, that kind of thing, is that he is such a perfectionist. He expects such perfection out of himself that he gets pissed off every time he doesn't throw a strike. Yeah. And I asked him, hey, is that a blessing and a curse? And he said, absolutely, that is. He said, most of the time it's a curse because, you're thinking negatively, that kind of thing. I really thought his emotions, he had some bad luck last night. He pitched better than probably the results said that he did. I really thought he kept his emotions in check very well.
We all know people like that in every walk of life. Their strength is their weakness, and that's exactly what you just said. His strength is that he is that guy. It ticks him off when you don't throw a strike. And, you want that guy on the mound. When you go out to the mound, get out of here, coach, I'm good. You want that guy. You want the guy who's pissed off. As he gets older, progresses in his career, he'll be more the next pitch guy, which you have to be. But that's great. That also, like I said, strength is a weakness, and I've got a lot of that myself, but that's just the way he is right now. But that's a good way to be, rather than a person who just kind of coasting along.
Absolutely, and we mentioned the bottom of the order. Hey, how about AustinBarnes making a splash on his first game back? He had a couple of absolutely huge hits, and I tell you another thing that goes completely underrated with last night's game. That stolen base that he had that set it up to where all Edman had to do was hit the sacrifice fly. Yep. I mean, so when I talked about all the great stuff the Dodgers did earlier in the show here, you forget AustinBarnes gets a hit. He steals second base. You sack fly him in. The Dodgers scored. So the bottom lineup scored. Not only did they get a lot of hits, they also scored by executing the offensive aspect of baseball. Chris Taylor got a couple of hits. Gavin Lux was very good. Kike Hernandez continues to hit the ball very, very well ever since he got his glasses. I know Coach Barakoff, that is his boy right there. And he mentioned the other night in our live show that, the overall stats don't look good for Kike, but it doesn't matter because all that matters is what you're doing right now. Yep. And right now, Kike Hernandez is playing great offense.
Yeah, and I just thought in my mind, you mentioned that the things the Dodgers did to win. I don't think it's the last time, maybe the night before, I watched every game, but the sacrifice bunt, we got a sacrifice bunt there. That's 2 nights ago, right? Yeah. But, here we are in the regular season baseball, and we're getting a sacrifice bunt down. So people are doing things they're doing things to win baseball games, preparing for the playoffs, because we know you'll see sacrifice bunts in the playoffs. Guys they're going to do whatever they got to do to move runners. So, but they're doing a lot of different things. Barnes, he's invaluable. What he's, especially now, that you can rest Will some, get him some days off, and he's gone through some injury deals and.
Mentally, there's something wrong with him mentally too. It's like he's lost his. I mean, that throw or the lack of. I don't know. Whenever the ball bounced, I mean, you learn that in 10 and under. Even if you catch the ball cleanly, if the ball hits the dirt first, you have to throw the ball to first base.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that right there just kind of makes you look like, man, something's off with Will. So I agree with what you're saying there.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we can get him straightened out before the playoffs start, because he's such an outstanding player. But Barnes has been a lifesaver in that spot. We knew that. He's been that as long as he's been. He's the catcher version of what we give a Kike and Chris Taylor and those guys that are totally team guys that whenever you need them, they perform. Not only they're not just there being the guys, they actually perform well. And Barnes has been an outstanding backup catcher. Not everybody has that.
Yeah. Of course, this isn't going to happen every game, but if Chris Taylor gets 2 hits, AustinBarnes gets 2 hits, TommyEdman gets 2 hits, Kike Hernandez keeps playing offense the way that he is right now, just go ahead and schedule the parade, because nobody's going to beat the Dodgers if those guys, those auxiliary guys, perform the way they have, because I think the Dodgers have enough firepower at the top that even if 1 or 2 of your big dudes like Mookie and Freddie didn't hit last year in the playoffs, even if one of those guys have a tough playoff series, you have enough big guys around them to be able to cover that with Teo Hernandez and Max Muncy. And then, like I said, if your auxiliary guys play like that, the Dodgers are not going to get beat. So I think that's probably why I'm as excited as I am this morning, just because it was such a great formula that wins every style of game.
No, it is. And it's exciting to see, because, like you said, there's a lot of different things going on. They're finding ways. Like I said, I love the pickup of TommyEdman, and we're getting some guys back, and it's starting to fall in place. Let's face it. I mentioned on the last show, it kind of sounds stupid at the time, but the pitching. When it gets down to the playoffs, it's always pitching. But you asked me if the Dodgers are going to win the World Series, what it'd be. I see there's going to be offense, and but exactly what you just said. We know we got the cats up there. If we get anything out of the bottom of those guys in the order down there, that's going to be the key. I think it's going to push the Dodgers over the top exactly the way you just explained it right there. That's the way I feel about it.
Yeah. One last before we get out of here, and we're going to bring in Austin Brubaker. We have a great down the farm. He was at the Loons game last night. Another dramatic win for them as they try to figure out a way to make the playoffs at the high A level. But, Coach, we mentioned this in the show, live show Wednesday night. Okay, Will Smith throwing out more runners than any other catcher in the game. Gavin Lux has been a great second baseman defensively. He's played great offense. Glad to see him finally get a hit. I believe it had been over a week since he had a hit. Now, he hadn't played every game, but glad to see him have good offense last night. And then you prioritize Miguel Rojas. TommyEdman can play shortstop. You got Nick Ahmed for defensive purposes to kind of stabilize a part of the season that you really needed stabilized. Then you went and got Kevin Kiermaier, and now you have TommyEdman. It's like as old school as you get, Coach. The Dodgers solidified themselves defensively up the middle. That's how you win championships a lot.
That's back in the old day when Tony Holt started coaching back in 1982. Strong in the middle, back in the days of the Bud Harrelson, all the shortstops hit 220. Nobody cared because they were there for defense. Catcher, shortstop, second base, center field. That's the way I learned when I first started coaching. I know the dynamics have changed, but yes, you got to be strong up the middle. But it goes right back to what you just said. In the big scheme of things, it hasn't changed. You got to be very good in the middle on defense. And, you get a big-time hitter, you can put him in the corner outfield position if you need to, corner defensive position, but you have to be strong at the middle. That hasn't changed in the 100 years, whatever, it's not 100, but, 30-plus years I've been coaching. So, and I did invent that. That's how the old-timers try to explain to me how to do it. You better be strong up the middle. So, and they are. And that's, again, Case, that's something we haven't we tend to take for granted. I don't know that me and you do because we think like coaches as well as fans. But fans, I love Dodger fans. They're so rabid, and we love them. They're the best.
They're frustrating at times, but they're awesome. But that's because they're so awesome.
And they high expectations. Yeah, we wouldn't have it any other way. I'm sure the Yankee fans are the same way. That's the way it is. But they expect so much more out of it. And the Dodgers, let's think about Roberts in the front office, what they've had to do this year.
Absolutely.
They did it last year, to keep this thing rolling like it has been. What they had to do last year, what they have to do even more this year, because this year they lost pitchers and position players and big time players, and have had to change. Like I said, they picked up Kiermaier's been a great pickup. TommyEdman. You've got veteran players who get Kiermaier's great arm. I mean, unbelievable arm out there in the outfield. That takes that changes perspective. Runners aren't going to try to take an extra base on him. So they've done the moves they've made. We sitting back here, we being fans, not real sure, but you look at it, they've been planning the whole time. What do we need? Where are we going? What do we have to do? What do we got to get? And you sit there and look at it now, it's like you just said, they've done a pretty good job of piecing this thing together, and not just piecing it together, but getting guys who are going to be able to perform and contribute in a big way.
Yeah, man, when you increase your margins, it makes such – we're seeing it right here. You say, okay, well, you need the big superstar. Well, sometimes you just need to increase your margins around the edges.
Yep.
And the Dodgers kind of did both. They got Flaherty and Kopech, who've been superstars. But then you go and get guys like TommyEdman, Kevin Kiermaier. You increase your margins from that perspective. And then sometimes that actually makes a bigger impact or as big of impact as going and getting the big-time guys that we've seen in the past. So, Coach, hey, it was a lot of fun. As you can't tell, I am in a very excited mood about the game. I just thoroughly enjoyed watching I just fit my eye last night watching them play, so super excited about it. Hey, super excited. Got a chance to talk to you again, Coach, and super excited about college football kicking off. So great to see you. I love you, Coach.
Love you too, man, and it's great to see you. Tell Austin I say hello. Never get to see him. I know he's doing great work up there with the Loons, and I look forward to talking to you again, man.
Okay, Coach, and we're going to now head over, and we are going to bring in Austin Brubaker and take a trip down on the farm. Welcome to Dodgers Daily Down on the Farm. Casey Porter now bringing in Austin Brubaker, who has his mind blown after watching two just unbelievably dramatic games in a row for the Loons. And they're dramatic because the Loons, as you mentioned, were 5 games back with 10 games to go. They have no margin for error. They basically can't lose again. There's been dramatics everywhere. You have been there in South Bend. Dive in, Austin Brubaker.
Yeah, first off, Casey, it's great to see you. I am tired. But I couldn't be more excited right now. So just to give you a little bit of an idea of where things stood going into the game yesterday and some of the best case scenarios. So the Great Lakes Loons are in a playoff race, and entering the game yesterday, they were 5 games back with 10 to go. And that seems like a huge task to overcome. The good thing about that is they do play the first place team next week. And so the Loons entering the game were 5 games back. They were in second place, 10 to go. So here's how the map works. And here's entering the game last night. Here's what you wanted if you were a Loons fan. 1, you got to win as many games as you can. They're playing against the last place South Bend Cubs out of the West Division, who haven't been the best team this season. You got to win as many games of these as possible. Basically, you got to take all 6 if you can. That's best case scenario. And then best case scenario, Dayton does play the 3rd place West Michigan Whitecaps, who are only a half a game behind Great Lakes. Entering the game last night, if West Michigan took 3 out of 4 and Great Lakes won all 4, what the map would turn out to is basically when the Loons played the Dragons, because they'd be 2 games back, all they would have to do is take 4 out of 6, and West Michigan loses one of the games against Lansing, and the Loons are in. That was the map that the Loons had entering the game last night. And going back to Wednesday night, it was an exciting game. It was hard fought. The Loons won in, I believe, 11 innings. Another couple of great plays were able to save the game. Last night was another one of those must-win games, and especially when the Dayton Dragons did lose again last night. So the Loons had the opportunity, and they had some really good performances, starting off with their starting pitcher, Wyatt Kroll. pitched really well, left-handed prospect within this Dodgers system. He was really effective, as you're seeing on the screen right now, against these South Bend Cubs, who actually do have a solid offense.
They do.
Put up a really good performance out there, was able to, as you can see, move away from some of the left-handed hitters, was able to mix his pitches really well. It's one of the best starts that he's had at the Great Lakes level, was able to go 4 innings, pushed him a little bit further than what he's had in the past. He was a little bit more effective, similar to Peter Hubeck on Wednesday.
Oh my
Peter
goodness,
Hubeck was incredibly effective. And he was efficient too. One of the things about Peter is there's a lot of times where he's not giving up any runs, but he's going maybe 3-4 innings because he's throwing a lot of pitches in order to do that. Peter Hubeck was incredibly effective. Same with Wyatt Kroll last night. So it was a couple of really good pitching performances that started off the past couple of games for Great Lakes, which set them up for a lot of success early in the games.
Absolutely did. And then I'll tell you what, Sean McClain, let me get to some of his video. This dude has been, matter of fact, I'm going to try to get to his defensive play here in a minute, but let me get to his home run right now. I've said many different times with Sean McClain that he might be the best defensive shortstop in the entire system, minor league wise. Here's his home run right here last night. And he's also, since about a month or so ago at Rancho, he's played very good offense as well, and that should be no surprise because as he becomes more healthy, this is a guy that is very capable, and he just needs to catch fire and kind of figure some things out on the offensive side at the professional level. But man, he had a play in the bottom of the 10th that he goes and slides to his left. If he doesn't make it, South Bend wins on Wednesday. Last night, this is a home run in the top of the 12th inning. And this was after, you had the placed runner, and then the placed runner did not get advanced. And so you kind of lost that advantage of having the placed runner. And then the next hitter, Sean McClain, hits a dramatic home run, and then everything gets held from there. So, by the way, and Christian Rubeck, I love watching Christian Rubeck.
Oh, yeah. So a couple of key moments for this game. One, just to let you know, the Loons got up 4-0 in this game. And got to give a shout out also to Nick Biddison, who has entering the game last night a 193 WRC plus in the month of August. Hitting unbelievable this month. Also, Jordan Thompson had a home run. So both of them had home runs. The Loons were up early. They gave up a run in the 8th inning. They were able to escape a bases loaded jam, which you expected them to go ahead and move on and win the game. Then 9th inning comes along. 2 runners get on. There's 1 out. Triple. Only up by 1. They get the next guy out, but then with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th, what looks like the final out on a fly ball, catches it. DePaula catches it, falls to the ground. Ball pops out of the glove. Umpire rules it a drop. Game tied, and that felt like the season right there. Fell through the glove of them. They were able to get out of that. You enter the 10th inning. Loons don't score. Not the place runner. Nothing at all.
Nothing.
11th inning. Loons don't score.
Michael Martinez was pretty darn good.
I'm going to get to Michael Martinez in just a minute, but we're starting with Sean McClain, who has big league. He's got big leagues in his blood. And I've been so impressed with Sean McClain this week in particular. Obviously, got called up to Great Lakes with Noah Miller, who I would argue is the best defensive shortstop within the system. It's hard to argue with Sean McClain as well, who's incredible defensively and made one of the best plays, game-saving plays on Wednesday. What I've been so impressed is a lot of the little things with Sean McClain this week. It is his leadership. He has been.
He's a gym rat, man.
He's been one of the most vocal guys as far as communicating to some of the other hitters what exactly the pitcher is doing, and he's starting to take an active role in that. He's probably talked to. I can't remember if it was the game yesterday or the game on Wednesday. 2 or 3 hitters that were coming up after him, telling them what exactly he saw from one of the pitchers. And he didn't just go back to the dugout and just hang out in the back. He was actively right next to the coaches, cheering on these guys and telling them exactly what was going on. It is also his hustle that he has. He made a play on Wednesday, which I don't know if he was actually safe or not, or if the runner was off the base. He forced a play and was able to get an extra base for the Loons because of his hustle that he has. And you take that leadership, you take the defensive ability that he had, and a lot of these skills haven't completely gelled 100% together exactly how he likes this season, especially offensively. Comes up with the big moment when the Loons were able to escape both the 9th, 10th, and 11th. Sean McClain comes up, and when they needed him to do it the most with this game, with their season on the line basically in this game, Sean McClain does that and hits it out and gives the Loons a 6-4 lead, and the dugout went absolutely the same.
You're still fired up.
I probably stood there for 10 minutes after the game. I had an hour and 20-minute drive back to my house, and I had to work in the morning, and I still stood there for 10 minutes in disbelief at what happened during that game. I'm
sure you
crazy.
did the funky feather a few times.
Oh yeah, they hit the home runs, and then it was I wish I would have done the funky feather a few more times so that saved me a couple of heart attacks. But got to give a shout out to Sean McClain. Also, big shout out to Michael Martinez for what he did yesterday. So Michael Martinez entered the game bottom of the 9th inning with 1 out, runner on third, game tying run on third. He comes in, gets the first runner out. Looks like he gets the game-winning save right there. Doesn't end up happening. Enters the 10th inning. Is able to work around the place runner both times with zero margin for error. Not 1 run margin for error. 0 margin for error. Michael Martinez has been one of the best success and turnaround stories for this system all season. Beginning of the season, he could hardly throw a strike. Now he is one of the best relievers in the Loons system. He throws hard. It's 97, 98. He's able to mix his pitches, and he's incredibly confident right now.
He has an intimidating. His confidence is intimidating.
Yes, it is. Yes, it absolutely is. And when he entered the game, you could tell that he was going to go out there and have a ton of success. Michael Martinez, I couldn't be more proud of what he's been able to do. Look at that pitch.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you supposed to do? And it wasn't like he was going up against just the bottom of the order against the South Bend. He went up against some good hitters, and he went and found a way to get out of it. I couldn't be more impressed. There's a lot of reasons why the Loons won the game yesterday. They could not have done anything without the 2 2/3 innings of Michael Martinez.
And the clutch performance. And then it was great to see Christian Rubeck, who's very Madison Jeffrey-ish, meaning that he can throw the ball like 600 miles an hour. His off-speed stuff just lights up the track man, but it's not always in the strike zone, and certainly not from a consistent perspective. So for him to go out there in that high stakes of a moment, 2-run lead, and go out there and keep the ball in the zone and hold that lead and get a save, that's the type of situation that can turn a corner for a guy like Christian Rubeck, who's always had the big league stuff.
Yeah, the ball dances with Christian. It moves around a ton, and he's had some success at the Great Lakes level. There was a lot of walks that he had at Rancho, and there's a lot of struggles that he had. But since he's been called up to the Great Lakes, it's been a lot of scoreless outings for him, and he's gaining a lot of that confidence. You could see with Christian Rubeck after Biddy got the out, just how pumped up and fired up he was. Ball dances, ball moves around with him, and when it's in the zone, when he's able to command it effectively, and especially once he got that first out, once he was able to get that ground out and they were able to throw the runner out at first base, you felt really confident in what he was going to be able to do. He went out there, he executed, he forced South Bend to be able to make plays, and Christian Rubeck was just better last night.
He absolutely was. As you can tell, my Dodgers dogs are super excited about that. Hey, another guy, so we're going to have to deal with him just for a second. I'll get it muted whenever we get it back to Austin here. But, hey, another guy that you cannot forget about the job LeBron Reynoso did, too. A lot of times when you have dramatics at the end of the game, you forget about, like, a performance in the 4th inning. But without the performance of Livan Reynoso last night, the Loons don't win.
No. Yeah. So Livan Reynoso, and this typically happens in piggyback type starts. They have the opener, they have the bridge guy, which Livan Reynoso was yesterday, leading to the second piggyback guy. Livan Reynoso, his job was to go out there, extend the game, keep the lead up, so then Jacob Metter could come into the game and go as long as he could, provide additional length for this bullpen. And Livan Reynoso did what he does when he is most effective. He throws the ball incredibly hard, and he gets a lot of ground outs. When he's able to do that, you can see him have a ton of success. And he was able to do that. He was able to keep the ball in the zone, 3 ground outs. Livan Reynoso, when he's on, he's really effective, and he's able to really limit a lot of the hard contact. When you have 3 easy ground outs like that, most of the time that's going to be outs.
Hey, can you move your laptop down just a little bit? You're sliding down. I'm cutting off your chin there. Right there. That looks perfect. Okay, so final thoughts on the Loons and where they're at right here real quickly, and then we'll just kind of wander around. We had a really, really in-depth down the farm one for the Wednesday night show. So last night, the action as far as the AA and AAA was a little bit light. So we're going to kind of wander around after we finish up the Loons here. Don't go away, though. We have Jang, who was just simply fantastic last night. So final thoughts, the Loons, before we move on and wander around the rest of the system here.
Yeah, it's exciting times right now. The path was narrow entering this week, down 6 with 2 weeks to go. You're down 4 now with 9 games to go, with the ability to play against the Dayton Dragons. There is a path, there is an opportunity, and this team knows it. This team is hungry, and let's remember this rivalry between the Loons and the Dayton. This dates back years, back to 2022 at the very least, when the Loons came back from 8.5 games down with 2 weeks to go. There was a lot of beef between these two teams last year. The Dayton Dragons are the team that eliminated the Loons from playoff contention this season. These teams do not like each other. There's nothing the Loons would want more than to go and beat the Dayton Dragons to win it in the postseason. If they win at least one of these games, they're going to have an opportunity to play Dayton. Best case scenario, win the next 3. West Michigan takes 2 out of 3, sets you up to where playoffs start next week.
Absolutely. Okay, so it's been a lot of fun to watch the Great Lakes Loons play such great baseball. Hey, let's go ahead as we wander around now. The first place you got to start last night, I figured you would want to see this guy, Jang. This dude is absolutely dynamite, man. So what I want you to see here is how he throws the 3, he can throw the ball through a brick wall. 3 changeups in a row to start the second inning. He threw 2 innings scoreless last night. Austin, if you need to get out of here, that's totally fine. We got the Loons part. You log off whenever you need. I can wander around. I figured you can stay on as long as you want if you want to see Jang pitch or whatever you want to do here. So he starts the inning.
Yeah, I'll see Jang pitch, and then I got to go work.
That's what I figured. Yeah, so he throws 3 changeups in a row to start the inning, and then watch this, fastballs in the inner half to lefties. So you're talking about the outer half with the changeup, inner half with the fastball. So, that soft away hard in, that's a forever formula. And then how about the top of the zone with the fastball as well? So the sequencing, along with the arm talent, combined with the execution for a single A level, I could not have been more impressed with the Jang.
Yeah, that looks incredibly impressive. I'm super excited with the future that he has. He's young, but he's incredibly talented. He's got such a bright future. Dodgers fans need to take note of this guy. And when he has the opportunity to pitch for Rancho, go out and watch him. He's must watch.
Yeah, see, so watch him get the ball underneath the barrel of the lefty right here. Watch this little bit of a just kind of little that moves, it slides right, but it stays underneath the barrel. So it starts on the inner half, so it kind of hops back over the plate. And what I mean is, if you look at this first changeup right here, this changeup's going to start off the plate on the inner half right there. Okay, see how that's off the plate? Watch it hop back over. Whoop, right there. Back over the plate. And so as a lefty, you don't know where the ending point's going to be. And he continues to work that changeup further and further to the outer part of the zone. Boom. Strikeout. That was a super impressive sequence. And so after that, now fastball in. Wow. I mean, that is just the execution along with the sequencing. Congratulations to Ramon Troncoso, Sean Coyne for the sequencing here, and congratulations to Yun-Sok Yang for the execution. And then when you get all of that combined and you're throwing your changeup off your fastball again, then you can just let the big dog eat with the changeup. Watch that. I mean, that's a changeup there that started literally on the inner half of the plate. Let me show you here, right there. And then, so it started right here, and watch where it ends. All the way out there on the outer half. That is a ridiculous pitch that he was able to throw because he threw strikes with his fastball, so he could try to throw the changeup out of the zone to get swing and miss, of which he did. That again, it's not just the arm talent, it's not just the upside, it's also the execution and understanding of what the game plan is. Very impressive. As we continue to kind of wander away around the system here on Dodgers Daily Down the Farm, going to move now up to Double-A Tulsa, and the young man that I wanted to present to you here and show is a young man that is back in the system. You know, hey, the Tulsa Drillers are kind of the reunion team. They got Donovan Casey back about a month ago. If you remember, Casey was part of the deal that got Max Scherzer and Trey Turner that sent Keibert Ruiz to the Washington Nationals, and they got him back about a month ago. I like him. Very fast player. You got to love those Whataburger uniforms from the Corpus Christi Hooks, who are the Double-A affiliates of the Astros. You got to love minor league baseball. They have all sorts. I believe their field is called Whataburger Field, so they have a promotion where they wear Whataburger uniforms. But hey, this is Cristian Santana, and this is a young man that can really hit. Now, he was with the Dodgers. He elected free agency after the 2021 season, after a pretty good season with AAA Oklahoma City. So he made it all the way to Oklahoma City, played basically the entire season of 2021. Does a great job of what you're seeing right there. What I remember of him when he was with Oklahoma City was that he just did a great job of hitting the ball up the middle, hitting the ball the other way. I think probably the hang up with him is he's a third baseman, first baseman type, and he hits a lot of low line drives. He doesn't hit a whole lot of home runs. He hit 20, I believe it was like 24 home runs in 2018, but since then it's been like 10, 12, 13 home runs. So it's like he has to play a position where you need home runs, but he doesn't hit a lot of them. And so I think that probably was one of the hang-ups there. But to be honest with you, in 2021, it was kind of like, well, Cody Hosey was hurt, and then it was kind of like, was it going to be him or Miguel Vargas at third base? And I think they chose Miguel Vargas, and I think he saw that writing on the wall, so he elected free agency and moved on to the Reds. He's also played internationally back, and I believe that the Dominican Republic, don't exactly quote me on that, which international place he's played since then. But hey, the Dodgers signed him again about 14 games ago or something like that, and Cristian Santana is back. He is with the Double-A Drillers, and so I wanted to show you action from him as of last night.